Oh, Danny boy,
Oh, Joey, what's
the
up?
pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside.
Oh, uh-oh, what's going on?
Just a little Irish ballad for you here this morning.
No better way to start the day than that, right there.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
I get a routine comment from our good friend in Ireland. He goes by Big Rotters. Does he
Yes.
frequent your channel?
Yes, I know who you're talking about.
There's a number of people from Ireland. And I was looking at my metrics. In case you are new to the Wood Hounds podcast, everyone, number one, thank you for tuning in and listening to the number one firewood podcast in the world, the Wood Hounds.
Oh.
When do we post our new episodes, Nan?
Every Wednesday morning at 5 a.m. Eastern.
Okay. And Dan has a YouTube channel called,
Back 40 Firewood.
and I have a YouTube channel called Ohio Woodburner. And I go off of my metrics, Dan. I'm sure that you're probably pretty similar to me. You know, the number one country that views my channel is the United States, because what the heck? I mean, that's where I'm from. Uh, and then, what do you suppose number two was? I was shocked when I just looked at my list.
I'm not sure. Maybe Canada?
Wouldn't you think? You know,
Yeah.
I'm thinking Canada, Finland, Sweden, Norway, Estonia, Russia. No, number two is South Korea.
Really?
It was
Wow. That is
South.
very interesting.
Yeah, it was South Korea.
Huh.
So I was just shocked. I never get a comment. I'm going through my brain right now. That's why you see my eyes rolled into the back of my head. I have never received a comment from anyone from South Korea, or even one that had identified, that I'm from South Korea. So it's just weird. I don't know what has happened, but that was on my metrics. I was impressed.
Wow, that is
Yeah,
impressive. I will
yeah.
have to check. I don't remember the last time I looked, but I know that um, with the added content of the shorts and those type of videos getting pushed to greater, I guess, reaches and expanding their reach of how far your content goes, I think that's another contributing factor that might play into it. So maybe
You think
a,
that's it?
a lot of people in South Korea are like interested in seeing log splitters or your processor or just that type of, I guess, content.
Uh huh. So I'm going to be really ignorant right here, and I don't. I mean, are there trees in Korea? I would imagine there are.
Yes.
But are there a lot of them? So I, my dad was in the army, and he was in Korea. He was in the Army Corps of Engineers, and he had always told the story when the ship would come in with all the supplies and all the unloading, all these forklifts bringing all this stuff off. He said that they had just hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of crates. And in these crates were chainsaws. And he said the chainsaws had like 5-foot bars on them. And like the other end, the tip of the bar had a handle for a second person to hold it. And
Oh.
he says that everyone just laughed because he said there was no trees for them to cut down. And it wasn't just like, a chainsaw came in with like a 14-inch or a 20-inch bar on it. He says these were literally like, for redwoods out in California.
Yeah. I
Uh,
know exactly the saw you're talking about. I've seen pictures of those.
but I got this South Korea thing going on now, and I'm just curious. That's something I will look into it. I'm just gonna start
Well,
studying the firewood industry if there is one in Korea.
I can tell you right now. I can tell you that according to Google, There are many different tree types of trees in Korea. There's the Korean pine, the Saurora cypress, and the Hinoki cypress.
Oh wow, those are softwoods, aren't they?
Well, each of these trees has its own unique features and benefits that make it a valuable part of the Korean ecosystem.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, maybe there is quite a interest in firewood and forestry and chainsaws and processors. You never know.
All right. Yeah. Well, that was just something that, other than me wanting to serenade you with Danny Boy, I was wanting to tell you about about South Korea showing up large on Ohio Woodburner.
Yeah, that is interesting.
But
And
about that chainsaw though, that 5 foot, have you, who would you? I don't know. Would I ever want to like be on the other end of that and holding the handle of a, you know, on the tip of a 5 foot chainsaw?
yeah,
I've seen them too. There's a store out our way that's got kind of like a chainsaw museum in it, and I've seen them in there. But it's just got like this knob, kind of a broom handle coming off the tip of this off the chain.
yeah,
Man, I can think of many different jobs I would rather do than that.
yeah. That it does look a tad bit dangerous. And have you ever seen the other ones where they're on a dolly and like on a set of wheels, and then you like
I
lower it
have.
down into the log that's already on the ground?
Yeah, I have. I also saw like at these exhibitions, someone put like a V8 engine on a
Yes.
on a bar, and like these two guys they have this crate of like a steel crate around it with handles, and they pick it up one on each side, and
Yep.
that was pretty cool.
But yeah, the 5 foot bar with the handle on the end, that would be yeah, I don't know.
I think I would rather be a javelin catcher than that. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll stick to my 13-pound powerhead Dolmar 7900. That's big enough for me.
Yeah, and I'll stick to my Steel 500i. That's just
Hmm.
perfect for me.
I was looking at chainsaws the other day. I'm kind of feeling the itch, Dan. I don't
Oh.
know. I'm kind of feeling the itch of buying a new one. And I picked up a uh, I don't know if I should say this. I don't like to talk about this is the baseball player in me. In baseball, you're conditioned to not talk about the future because you'll jinx it.
Yes.
And I was looking at. I've always wanted a Husqvarna 372 XP. Its nickname, the King of the Forest. It's one of the great saws of all time, and they're still making them without the computer controls, or what do they ever call it, the recycle or
Yep.
something.
Yeah.
And it had a 20-inch bar, and when I picked it up, it was just perfectly balanced. My Dolmar, which has a 24-inch bar, is nose heavy because the bar is a lot heavier on it. So now I'm thinking, if I do get this saw, I got like 20 chains for it, 24-inch chains, and I have no 20-inch chains. And so I was thinking it might just be cheaper just to get another 24-inch bar.
Yeah. Well, that
Hmm.
that is a very iconic saw right there. You hear a lot about those.
Yeah, so my big saw is a Dolmar 7900, which in my opinion is the greatest saw ever made. It's a great saw. I love everything about it. And it's kind of like a personal saw for me, and I've been using it a lot with Ohio Woodburner and cutting up the bigger logs. And I don't know if I want to wear out my saw for commercial use. So I was thinking, and you can never have enough saws. If
Right.
there's one objective truth in this world, you can never have enough chainsaws. So I was just thinking, I don't know, it's kind of redundant. Maybe it's a little bit smaller than my Dolmar, but it's still an excellent saw. And maybe I would rather have that.
Well, and it would give you an opportunity to wear a skirt while you processed firewood because that's what's needed with a Husqvarna.
Yeah, you watch that. them's fighting words, man.
Oh, I know. I had to do it though. I had to do it because the one thing I really enjoy when it comes to talking chainsaws is actually the banter back and forth between the two or the three or the four groups.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
But yeah, I've kind of the same. I had the same mindset, I guess, that you're kind of going through. Where do you want to just keep using that one saw, knowing that it's your favorite saw to just kind of use when maybe leisurely or hobby,
Yeah.
cutting firewood, and when you start getting into production mode, do you want to put that saw through that? I don't know.
Yeah, and then so I was thinking, okay, Husqvarna 372, I'll buy it, I'll have it forever. It'd be a great saw, but man, that's kind of expensive. And then I have a shop in town where I buy my oil for my two stroke oil, and they sell Echoes. Okay, so the Echo is about $300-$400 cheaper, and I've never had one, but man, they look nice.
Yeah.
And even though I'm using my air quotes here, commercial use, their homeowner warranties for 5 years,
Wow.
and that's a long time, and that's a nice warranty.
Yeah.
I've never heard anything bad about an Echo chainsaw.
As long as it covers everything, you know, that would need to be covered. Yeah, I've never heard anything bad either. But that kind of makes me wonder is if, do the Echo owners just don't make any noise because they don't want to admit that they were running an Echo? Zing
Yeah.
once again.
Uh-huh. I was thinking maybe because they don't run them as much. Maybe it's more homeowner. But see,
Yeah.
if they're homeowner, but Echo makes big saws. They got a
Oh yeah.
73
Oh
and
yeah.
an 80, cubic inch saw. So I don't know. But then and then then I got to start splitting hairs. Well, does their big one have the same mount as the Husqvarna? Because the Dolmar and Husqvarna have the big husky mount.
Yeah.
Would the Echo have that too? And if not, would I have to then start buying up all a new series of chains?
Yep. New chains, different files, all that
Uh
stuff.
huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's been on my mind, Dan. I have okay, I have four saws. The reason I don't count number four is because it's battery powered,
Oh
but
my
it
gosh.
works, man. I shouldn't mock it because it works. It does exactly what I want, and I use it a lot. I did a video on it's that Heart made from Walmart.
Yes. Yep.
I bought it on an impulse purchase, and because I thought this would kind of be a fun video to do, and I thought if this saw is garbage, I'll just take it back and get my money back. Well, I used it, and in fact, in my video, it's the very first cut I ever made with it. I was impressed, and I still am impressed. It works great, and it's I don't know how you are. There are times where I need to go out there and cut that log up, but then I think, oh shoot, I got to get my saw out, and I got to fill it up with gas and oil, and get it warmed up, and then the heck with it, I ain't gonna do it at all.
Yeah.
But with a battery power one, I was like, oh, okay, I'll just go squeeze the trigger. Let's go.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I saw that video, and I have the smaller version of that Heart battery powered saw. The next one down. Just I use it mainly for just marking out my cuts, so I
Uh
can
huh.
just put my little measuring magnetic stick on that thing, zip 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 down the line. And yeah, I was impressed with even though it's only got an 8-inch bar, I was actually pretty impressed with the power that it had and how long the battery lasted.
I've never seen it on your channel.
Well, I showed it to you. Obviously, I haven't been watching all of my videos then. I only showed it a couple times, just making the marks. I never like did a review on it or anything like that. I just have it
I
kind of in the side.
I think you should have a video where you have a drag race between your 8-inch saw and your steel 500i.
Yeah, that would be, I mean, exciting, fun
Hmm.
filled, and exciting.
I think it would.
Oh, that would be
Oh, I mean, it could be the tortoise and the hare. Who's going to say that your saw's not going to throw a chain or it's going to run out of fuel before you get to get
ooh,
get through the log, and then that little 8-inch saw just wins. It
saves
could
the
happen.
day. Yeah, there you go. I
Mhm.
could do where without looking at the fuel in the tank and not knowing whether or not it might run out, because that would be the only way that it would probably have a chance of falling to the battery powered one. But that's a good
Yeah.
idea. Yeah.
What are the CCs on a 500i?
Now you're going to make me think about all these stats and numbers and statistics. I think it's 79.2.
Oh wow, because that's what the Dolmar is. And then what's the I stand for?
I believe that stands for the fuel injected part because it's Steel's first fuel injected chainsaw.
Oh yeah,
I
you
think.
mean
I
it
don't
really
know.
has like a fuel injector on it?
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Oh, it's very interesting.
Uh huh. I'd have never known. All mine has is a carburetor. All mine has is a 40-volt battery.
Ooh,
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah, I think I don't know if the battery powered chainsaw is going to displace the two stroke anytime soon, but man, they're nice. And those batteries are expensive though. I was thinking I could go for a second battery for my saw, but then I saw I could buy another saw
Yeah.
with the battery. If it was like $1 more than just buying the battery. Weird.
Right. Yeah,
Yeah, I don't get it.
the only thing with the and that's kind of the one thing where like if you were heading out into the forest, to do some processing up or cutting down, felling some trees, whatever, and that's the one thing with a battery is you got to make sure you got that battery charged before you leave. Whereas, the two stroke, if it's out of get fuel, you just have the fuel along with you and
Hmm.
you refuel and go. But that's the one thing where it does add a little, I guess, more responsibility to the use of it, making sure your battery's charged.
Uh-huh. I had a friend. Now, this was a number of years ago. I don't know if this is still true, but it's worth trying. He was in management at Home Depot, and they had at that time, I don't know if that's what I'm saying. I don't know if it's the same. They had a very generous return policy. And he said it by routine. Whenever there was like a big storm, people would come in and buy their chainsaws because they would sell Husqvarnas that were like, the not like the $99 saw, but a little bit higher up. And they said that people would go home, they would cut up the tree that fell in their yard, and then they would return it to Home Depot, say that they weren't happy with it and get their money back. And he says that they would sell, used ones. And he said, if you're ever looking for a good deal, he said, that's where you ask around at the Home Depot
Oh, yeah.
or any of these big box stores, because they get abused on these return policies. And you just might pick up one. In fact, I almost bought. This is when, so I'm pretty sure this was Home Depot. They rent saws, and they had a Makita, which was a Dolmar at that time. It was the 6400, and it was a rental, and it had a broken spring for the anti vibe, and they were selling it like cheap, and I
Oh,
didn't,
yeah.
and I didn't buy it, and I wish I would have because that'd have been a great saw to have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Especially if it would have been just something like that was the only issue with it, you know.
Yeah. Something that would be simple to fix.
Yeah.
Those Dolmars have an interesting anti-vibe spring. They're like a spring within a spring. They claim it absorbs two different frequencies.
Hmm.
And I've always said that big Dolmar I have, that's the smoothest saw I've ever run. I have like a 346 XP Husqvarna, and it's a great saw, but I've never been crazy about the anti-vibe. Maybe I'm like Princess and the Pea, but I don't know. The buzzing and stuff, I can feel it in my hands and wrists
Oh yeah,
from running saws. Yeah. I've never cared for the anti-vibe on that saw.
yeah. The older saws. My dad has an old from the '80s, an 054, I think, steel, and man,
Uh-huh.
when you run that thing, it's
Hmm.
you know you've been running it.
And
It's
that's not healthy, for long-term health. That
no,
can eventually damage your your joints and your nerves and all from that constant vibration.
yeah. I think that's why they made those saws so big and heavy, is because you'd have to put it down after 15 minutes because your arms were too sore, your shoulders were wore out, your back was aching. So
Uh-huh.
you could only run it for so long, and then you had to just put it down. It was so big and heavy, and
My battery powered chainsaw has no anti-vibe. And I had said that in my video. You can feel every cutter hitting the wood
yes,
on
yep,
that thing. But then again, you're not running that thing all day long either.
no, no,
Mm-mm.
and you're not making cuts that are like taking you a minute or two per cut. You're not getting into big wood where you have your saw maxed out for 45 seconds to a minute.
Speak for yourself, man. I pushed the limits on that battery chainsaw.
Oh, really? Well,
Yeah,
your
I'm
limits
getting my
obviously are not the same as mine.
I'm getting my money's worth out of that thing. I'm
Oh,
telling you right now.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I have two Walmart Poolins. Those were the very first chainsaws I ever bought. And then I have the first chainsaw we ever owned. Dad bought it, and I have it. It's a Poulin top handle. This is back when Poulin made nice saws. It's an old one, probably like in the mid 70s, I would say.
Wow.
Yeah. I love chainsaws. I had read somewhere, I don't know if this is true, that it's like pound for pound the most productive machine ever invented.
Wow, that could
Hmm.
I could see that. Yeah.
How much
Interesting.
value can you make with a chainsaw and it weighs 10 pounds?
Oh,
You know?
yeah. Yeah, I my collection is very small. I have three saws, the Steel 180, the 291, and the 500. And I mean, it's just, for what I do, it's perfect. And that 500i, I love running it. And so when I go to the store and I go through the chainsaw aisle, the first thing I always look for is another one of those. And if the next time I see one, I'm getting another one.
Oh, wow. That
just
could
to
make for a good picture.
just to have on hand, in case something that just as a backup.
There needs to be a new movie come out with chainsaws in it. Maybe it can be in there.
Yeah,
Another Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I was just gonna say the only movie I ever can think of relating to chainsaw involves a massacre.
Yeah. The later one with Jessica Biel in it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that one was worth watching. What was the other one? Was Christmas Vacation. Remember Chevy Chase? Was that a Mac he pulled out and he cut the knob off of his railing on a stairwell
Oh
when
yes,
he was
yeah.
in a
What
fit of
what was that?
rage? Yeah.
What was that?
It was a McCullough something, wasn't
I think it was. Yeah.
it? Uh-huh. I don't know. What other movies have chainsaws in them out there? I can't
I
think
don't
of
know.
anything offhand.
No,
That could be a good trivia question.
I'm sure there's some zombie movie because that's a big weapon in the apocalypse, the zombie
Yeah.
apocalypse. Somebody always has a chainsaw.
And did you see Sharknado? The big, the horror spoof movie that was on, I don't know
No,
what
I didn't.
channel that was on. It was just a preposterous horror movie with tornadoes over the ocean were picking up sharks and dropping them on land and they were eating people. And the one guy had his hand bit off by a shark and he had like a chainsaw attachment that stuck off of his arm, out of his coat sleeve.
Nice. Very
Uh-huh.
nice.
Well, let's propose to do a episode in the future on chainsaw movies.
There you go. And we're gonna also need to follow up to see what you've decided to do. What if you're gonna pull the
Yeah,
trigger?
well, I if I do, and I'm leaning towards yes, it'll be after the holidays. I take a common sense approach to my bills, and I when I get that credit card bill, I know what's on it, and I don't ever carry a balance. I pay everything off, so I just use like my Discover card to get 2% back, on my purchase. So I
Yeah.
just do that instead of paying cash for it. And I also think that there's benefits, for insurance. Some of the stuff that you buy on your Discover card, they should be a sponsor of my channel. Yeah, you can get it insured through them. Or if you get ripped off online from a scam, like you bought firewood and paid money in advance for it. And the guy that's doing that looks just like you, Dan.
Yeah, shockingly. So
Oh,
you're
in
not
case you
so
guys didn't know, Dan's online presence keeps getting borrowed by people all over the country who
oh
are
my
opening
gosh.
up fictitious um, firewood companies using Dan's picture. And if you pay me in advance, I'll deliver this wood tomorrow.
Not even just the down, you just need to put a down payment. You just need to put down 20% down payment and then I'll deliver it tomorrow. Not even pay the full price, just the down payment. That's the scam.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would never fall for it.
Yeah. But
People
people
do.
out there, that's
Yeah.
right. So you're saying that Santa will not be bringing you this chainsaw. It won't be a stocking stuffer?
No, it won't. I would have to put a heavier nail in the mantle to hold it.
See,
They're pretty. They got a big power head on them. They're not a good looking saw. That's the one thing I never liked about steel saws. I just think they're ugly. I don't know, that air cleaner, the box on them. It's just. I know
what?
aerodynamics doesn't play a role with chainsaws. They are just unappealing to my eye.
Oh my goodness. Your eye needs adjustments.
They are. I even see it with the Echoes. The Echoes aren't that good looking of a saw either. They got like that. You got that big black knob, to loosen up the cover over your air filter, and I don't know.
See, to me, the Husqvarna is a cement block with a handle. It's just a
Yeah,
box. It's just a big, clunky
some of them
looking
are.
box.
Yeah, some of them are. I have a Rancher. I think it's a very good looking saw. In fact, it's probably the most comfortable saw I've ever run. I just love the spacing of the handles. I love that top handle on that saw. I just love it. My 346 XP, great looking saw. Love it. And all the XPs have that silver clutch cover on them. It'll make sure everyone knows that you're cool.
Yeah.
That you have it. I don't know. I am not a tribalist. I don't get. I drive Fords, but I don't denounce Chevys and stuff. It's just the way I like all machines, and I like all chainsaws. But I just always thought the steels were ugly.
Yeah, you need to take another look at them. I'm the complete opposite. I think they have. Well, I think like the 500i has a streamlined, nice design. It just catches your eye and it just looks cool.
But didn't you also drive a Pontiac Aztec? So there you go, people. There
No,
you
I
go.
I never I never had one of those.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. See, this is the fun stuff with chainsaws that you can get into. Stuff like this. I mean,
Yeah,
it's
I love
just
chainsaws.
fun to
I
see.
love chainsaws. I just think they're the greatest invention ever. I don't run them on my channel enough. And even when you get a firewood processor, you shouldn't throw away your chainsaw. You still need it. I don't run mine as much as I used to. And my right lower back, I think, appreciates that. But what a great machine! What a great invention!
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had mine out the other day, and I was in one of those positions where my chain needed a little touching up, but I knew the logs I was going to be bucking were kind of dirty. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to put on a new chain. I'm not going to put on a new edge because it's just going to lose it in the dirt. So I just pushed through, and that's where something like the 500i with the power it has, it does make a difference. Like you can lose your edge on your chain but still cut
Uh-huh.
very good.
Which, of course, the chainsaw snobs out there tell you that that's horrible.
Yes.
You're just wearing your saw out prematurely, and everything's
Yeah.
wrong.
I was waiting for the heat to come in the comments about how I should have taken the 20 minutes to just put a new little edge on. But it's like one
Hmm.
of those things. I mean, I had a limited number or a limited amount of time, and I knew the chain would just, these logs were dirty. It was frozen mud on them, and oh god.
Isn't it amazing though how fast you can dull a chain?
Oh my gosh.
It just doesn't seem. It seems counterintuitive. Just get that tip in the dirt and it's dull.
Yep, done. Just
Yeah,
done.
it's such
Yeah.
a. I mean, such a chrome plated, razor sharp. Ugh,
Yeah. And that
just a violent cutting thing can just be dulled like that.
right. And then the flip side of it is the knowledge and skill needed to bring that edge back properly. That's where a lot of people struggle in sharpening their own chain. And I used to for a long time as well. But, and that's why it's so frustrating. You spend the time, you get that edge on there, it's cutting great. And then one little nip into the dirt with the tip, you're done.
Yeah. My last new chain I bought, on my fifth cut, I hit a nail and ruined it.
Yeah, it
Uh huh.
sucks.
Yeah, ruined it.
And now, I was just the other day. I was looking, and a new 25-inch chain for the 500 eyes, $40, 39.99. Jeepers.
That's a lot.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I remember. I just think it was like last year they were like 29. They like
Hmm.
jumped $10.
I I'm all over the place here in my area. I buy my saws over here. I get my two-stroke oil over there, and then I go up to this other place to get my chains because they're just cheaper. I used to have them sharpen my chains, but I don't let them do that anymore. They've Every time I get my chain back, it was just nubs instead. Like they just took half the cutter off. I was thinking, what the heck? I don't sharpen my own chains. Yeah, I just don't enjoy doing it. So I have a friend across the lake that does it. I take him to him. I give him. He charges me like $4 a chain.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I would do the
Yeah,
same thing. That's
yeah.
what.
I just
That's
don't
what.
enjoy it. I have a bench grinder, with the arbor wheel and the arm you pull down on it. I'll do that in a pinch sometimes, but it just ain't for me.
Yeah. Yep. Well, I'm guessing there's a good number of listeners out there that are going to be sitting on the edge of their seat waiting to see
Yeah.
either on your channel on YouTube or maybe here announced on the podcast what you end up doing come next year.
Well, when you see a video beginning with heavy metal, stone cold Steve Austin music and a big cloud of smoke that I come walking through with a big snarl on my face, I'll be carrying my new saw,
Oh, well, I can't wait to see
my new
what it
battery
is.
powered saw.
Yes.
Well, stay tuned. I'm thinking out loud, but like I said, that's the baseball player in me. I shouldn't talk about things like that because then they never happen.
Well, like I said, maybe it's just one of those things. I think you have it on your mind, and that one day you're just going to walk in there, you're going to see it, and that's going to be, the moment you've been waiting for.
Yeah.
Timing's going to work out. You just pull the trigger and go.
I think you need to buy one too.
Oh, like I said, I have my eye open all the time.
Okay.
I just,
I don't
I'm not
want
going to buy a Husqvarna though. Jesus. I'd have to spend the rest of, you know, how long trying to explain to my wife what happened to my man card.
Uh-huh.
Oh,
Go
left it at the store.
just I'm gonna maybe Santa will bring you a wood shark for Christmas.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do they still make the wood shark? I don't know. I'll have to look and see.
The wood shark.
The Poulin wood shark. They always say it's called a poulin because you got to keep pulling on them for them to start. All right, Dan. Well, this was a lot of fun, and I think it's time that we strike up the band.
Yes. Let's get out of here. Let's see. Are we gonna have? We'll be back on the air before the holidays, right? Yeah. So
I think we will.
I was gonna wish everyone a happy holiday, but I think now we're just gonna sit here, like I said, waiting to see the saw coming next year
Right.
to Ohio Woodburner. What is it gonna be?
Yeah, it'll probably have orange in it. That's a safe call. Just
Spoiler
already
alert.
saw it.
Yes.
It's got orange in it now. Yeah.
Yes.
All right. Well, Dan, I had a lot of fun today, and I want to thank everyone for tuning in to the Wood Hounds podcast.
Yes. And everyone out there, have a great
Day.
and be cool.